We're going to now go on to the demo and show you how the Winslow Behavioral Assessment works. On the screen, you'll notice that we have our login for clients page. And what will happen once you buy our services, you'll get an email from our system, and that email is going to advise you as to how to log on, and give you your access codes and your security code, which is what I just entered there. That will take you to your dashboard, which you'll see on the screen now, and you'll notice up in the upper left-hand corner, there is the name XYZ Corporation. Again, this is demo site and your user ID. On the left-hand side are all the navigation buttons. So that's where you activate the system. So most of our clients today, when they start with us, say that they need help hiring the very best applicants. That's the biggest challenge they have. They've come to accept some of the employees they have, but they're really worried about the quality they get. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on completed profiles. I'm going to show you how our system is used to select between two candidates. Because in our system, we advise our clients that today is different than maybe 20 years ago. For example, when I was hiring for a vice president of sales and marketing for my hotel company. I ran an ad in the local Washington, D.C. paper. I got 23 resumes. Today, you run an ad on the internet, and you get hundreds, if not thousands, of emails from all over the world. And that's why you now have companies that are providing HRIS systems, which is how to handle a flood of resumes. So with us, we say go through the whole application process, narrow the field down to 2 applicants that you would consider hiring. Now you take those 2 applicants and you have them take our assessment. So for example, let's say that you're hiring a pharmacist. And let's say that one of the candidates is Dina Darman. By the way, for them to complete the assessment, there are 300 questions, and it takes about 45 minutes to an hour. And after you click on their name, on the left-hand side, you'll notice these green bars. These are the reports associated with their assessment. I clicked on the executive reports, which brought up these blue bars across your screen. The executive report is basically a hiring document. And these are the 24 personality characteristics that we are measuring. For example, we measure conscientiousness. Someone who's high, and by the way, a high score is either an 8, 9, or 10. The low score is 1, 2, 3. 4, 5 is, 5, 6 is average. 7, 8 is above. 3, 4 below. And what our system does, it takes the response to the questions, and then it compares the responses to our cultural normative tables, which means that we have normative tables for American culture, which is a blend between Canada and the United States. Think of a bell curve. And for example, at the top end of the bell curve, which would be up at the 9, 10, there are fewer people there. At the bottom end, the 1, 2, there are fewer there. So the bulk of people typically score in the middle. So not only do we want to know about their conscientiousness, we want to know about their ambition. Are they hardworking? Are they competitive enough that they want to exceed your goals and expectations? Are they coachable? That is very, very important in an organization where you have to manage the people. Will they listen to their supervisors and or you, the owner, and take direction? Do they have the right degree of self-confidence? Self-confidence is one of the critical traits. Think of a baseball player. When they're in a slump, what do they say they lost? Their self-confidence. So that's critical to be successful. And the other thing, you, I suspect, would like people who have a smile on their face or pleasant people. That's measured by contentment. People who are high in contentment typically are very smiley, very happy people. So now, to apply what we call a PCS position, Position Compatibility Success Profile. And these are the jobs that we've built over the last 10 years we've worked in the independent retail pharmacy industry. So for example, we're going to be hiring a pharmacist. I'm going to pick that from the checklist. That's going to now put on top of those profiles the ideal characteristics for that job. Towards the bottom, you'll see the scoring range of color codes. Desirables in dark green. So if you're building the ideal personality type for a pharmacist, you want them to land in dark green wherever possible. And you'll notice some characteristics don't have dark green. That is how our system weights that characteristic. For example, boldness does not have dark green. Ambition does. That says that boldness does not hold as much weight as ambition. So now that we have that, our system will score it. It's got to score all 24 characteristics. It's going to give it a +4 for desirable, a +2 for favorable, a 0 for neutral, -2 for cautious, and -5 for concerns. And then we'll provide you a scorecard right here at the bottom under position summary data. The first thing you'd look at is a net score, which is where my mouse is. In this case, it's a +31. That is a score of all 24 characteristics combined. And now you're probably saying, well, that's great. What the heck does that mean? Well, let me show you. We scroll up. It's built right into the form. In this first paragraph, under participant net score, what it's saying is that when someone scores between a 0 and a 15, they're going to be average. They're going to be like most people in that category. I'm not sure if you're looking to have an average team, but most of my clients would rather have superstars. 16 to 35 would say they're going to be noticed above average, and 36 and higher. The higher the score, the more exceptional they perform. So in this case, this would indicate this person will be noticed above average. Now, let's look at the other candidate. I'm going to go back over to the menu bar on the left. I'm going to click on Completed Profiles. By the way, this would be your database. Again, this is your private website with Winslow Research. Now, let's say Richard is the other candidate. By the way, you might be leaning towards Richard. He may be a good interviewer. He may have taken all those courses you can get on the internet, particularly LinkedIn, which I like to call How to Lie to Your Future Employer. I'm going to click on Executive Report. I'm going to pull down the menu bar for the PCS positions. I'm going to pick Pharmacist. I'm going to scroll down to the scoreboard. And oh my gosh, look at that. It's flashing red. If you're in your car and you're driving down the highway and you have a traffic light that's flashing red, I bet you're going to stop, because if not, you might get run over by a train crossing across, or you might get hit by a car coming the other way. This says stop and think about this decision. The probability of this person being successful is nil to none. So your choice is, do I hire Dina, who is a +31, or Richard, who is a -26? In all cases, I would tell you I'd pick Dina over Richard every single time. Now keep in mind, this is at the end of the funnel, right? You took the hundreds of resumes. Someone sorted that through those, probably an electronic system. Someone then, did the assessment. You did background checks. You did drug checks. You narrowed it down to say these are 2 people you would consider hiring, and now's the time to make the decision to hire. And my vote would be for Dina. And so let's get Dina's report. I'll back up. I click on her name again. It will change the report. You see the name change. Now I'm going to tell you, so we've hired Dina. Her first day of work is Monday. On that day, when you are bringing them in, and the term is onboarding, that's commonly used, we would advise you give them a copy of their participants report. It will be anywhere between 35 and 50 pages. By the way, some of you have probably heard of some of the coaching companies or coaching programs like Kiyosaki Coaching, Jack Canfield Coaching, Zig Ziglar, before he passed away, had coaching companies. All those coaching programs are administered typically by a group out of Salt Lake City. They charge $5,000 to $10,000 for a 12-week program. If anybody in the audience has ever done that, you probably will see this report's familiar, because they use the Winslow assessment in personal development. So, as a matter of fact, you can see here are all the psychologists, Dennis Whitley being the lead psychologist, that actually created the program. And now the contents report, it's all hyperlinked. So I'm going to click on item 6, which is personal development. What this does is it gives a 7-step process for the individual to use it independently or with you, the owner or the manager, as to helping them make sure that they use their strengths in the best way they can to support your store and mitigate the weaknesses. Click on the logo, it takes me back to the top. I'm now going to click on trait descriptors. So what the individual is going to do is they're going to read all 24 characteristics, and we provide a very comprehensive report on what does it mean and what is the attitudes, what's the behaviors about someone who scores, for example, a 9. So they start to get a better understanding of their own interactions with people, their own thoughts, and how they respond in certain circumstances. So they'll read all 24 characteristics. Now we go to where the real work is done. That's known as influential traits. This is where someone scores either an 8, 9, or a 10, or 1, 2, 3. And what the system does, it gives you a whole one page, and it tells you more details about the characteristic and other related traits. So for example, you might have 2 people that are 9 in sociability. Well, if someone is a 10 in self-confidence versus a 1, the person who's a 1 will be less sociable. The person who's a 10 would be even more sociable. It describes how it affects them in their career, how it affects them socially, and then provides 3 suggestions on how to maximize their performance. Because every characteristic is a double-edged sword. There's the positive aspects of it, and there's the negative aspects. We want to enhance the positive, get you better results. We want to mitigate the weaknesses. And again, this was done for all high and low scores. That is the system. All of our internet pages here have tutorials, so you never have to worry about that. Additionally, we will be providing your administrators, and we advise that you always have at least 2. It could be, if you have a 1-store pharmacy and you got 10 employees, you'll probably be hands-on involved. If you've got 5 stores like Mike Palmer, one of our clients, he's got administrators that run the system for him, and he manages his organization. All right? So now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to turn it over to Meredith Bell, and she's going to talk to you as to how her e-learning program has been designed, and also we have mapped our 24 characteristics. So we will help you hire the very best applicant. Now that you hired them, you've onboarded them, now it's time to train them. And Meredith is going to talk to you and show you how her program is going to assist you in doing the actual training on the characteristics. So all of our 24 characteristics are mapped to her 64 online training program.